The Louisiana Raging Cajuns basketball program moving forward with new head basketball coach Quannas White. It's Locked On Sunbelt.
You are Locked On Sunbelt, your daily podcast on the Sunbelt Conference, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your teams every day. As promised, surprisingly, we do have the new head basketball coach of Louisiana Raging Cajuns, Quannas White, coming off that unfortunate championship loss, but a nice run by the Houston Cougars, playing in the national championship game. And a native of New Orleans is the new Raging Cajuns head basketball coach. We talked to him about coaching and a little playing for Calvin Sampson. We may get to the playing part at the end. Why the Louisiana Raging Cajuns? New Orleans has something to do with that, obviously. Style of play and expectations. And if you listen closely, he does maybe give away a little bit of news. He is the new head basketball coach of the Louisiana Raging Cajuns. He's Quannas White, and he's Locked On Sunbelt. 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to another edition of Locked On Sunbelt, your teams every day. Thrilled to have the new head basketball coach of the Louisiana Raging Cajuns, Quannas White, on the show. Coach, thanks very much. Obviously very busy. You got the job, I think, before the tournament ever began. You and Houston went on an amazing run, falling just short in the national championship game. What has the last 4 weeks been like in the world of Quannas White? And congratulations on the new gig.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been a blessing. I was juggling two jobs for a minute there, but I absolutely gave it my all. When you have an opportunity to play in the NCAA tournament, it's a testament to all the hard work that the entire program has put in. Obviously, we have a great leader in Coach Sampson. We have an amazing staff, and I have to give the ultimate credit to those kids that worked so hard starting in June to put us in position to make the tournament, which is hard to do. But to get to Monday night and be the last two teams standing, that's extremely hard. But like I was, telling everyone who's asked me, as soon as I accepted this job at Louisiana, I've been getting working right away. And so I have an unbelievable staff, and we just been hitting the ground running.
So what did that entail? Because, it's one thing to get ready for a weekend game. In the NCAA tournament, you got to get ready for two potential foes. How were you juggling those two jobs?
Yeah, well, Coach Sampson has been outstanding, understanding, that's the process, understanding, that I have become the head coach at University of Louisiana. So he's been great about, allowing me to be in the film room, and also when I needed to get on the phone and talk to a recruit, meet with my staff that I've assembled, which is an amazing staff. And so it all kind of worked out. And so I absolutely love the game. I absolutely appreciate the opportunity that I've been gifted. And so I'm going to take full advantage of it. And that's what I've been doing since day one.
Talking to Quannas White, the new head basketball coach of Louisiana Raging Cajuns. All right, so I love the dichotomy of, two of the new coaches in the conference. Ryan Pannone, coaching high school basketball as soon as he graduated high school and went over to China and has been in the G League. He actually left the NBA for college. You don't see that very often. It's usually the other way. Whereas you did more traditional way, playing college basketball, happen to be coaching with your college basketball coach for as long as you have. So you kind of took the traditional way. What kind of experience does that bring you to where you are now?
Yeah, I think experience is the best teacher, and that's with anything in life. I've been preparing for this moment since day one. Again, my hat's off to Coach Sampson, Coach Ed Conroy, and Coach Rick Stansberry, who's been preparing me for this moment. The last 8 years at Houston has been phenomenal. I've learned a great deal from a guy who I consider a second dad to me. We've had a big-time family environment, and I've definitely adapted that mentality with my staff, hiring my younger brother, hiring a guy who I believe is a great basketball mind, as well as Coach Sampson, who actually worked for Coach Sampson and Scott Raines. And so I have an unbelievable staff, Dave, and I'm just excited. And all those moments prepared me for this moment.
All right, so there's usually somebody on staff who's got to tell the head coach to rein it in. Where does the little brother come in on that? Is he going to be able to say you need to chill out a little bit or ramp it up? Can your little brother talk to you like that?
Nah, just like when we were on the basketball court, even if he scored, he couldn't, brag anything like that. You have to know your role, and you are the little brother. So, now he's been great. He's been great.
That's fantastic. So what I liked about this hire is that it was fast, right? Unfortunately, the previous coach Bob Marlin's time had come to an end very early on in the season, and so they got this done. When talk to from the process from your end, I always wonder how this works out. I'm sure you have an agent, and if you didn't, you were getting one. Was the job posted on LinkedIn? Did Calvin Sampson tell you about it? I'm sure you heard about it. The Cajuns. The football coach has taken all of the Cajuns players. So there is a connection here between Louisiana and Houston football. So how did you go about hearing about this job and what sparked your interest?
Yeah, well, one, being from a native of Louisiana, right up the road in New Orleans,
Right.
having the opportunity, Dave, to come back home is special to me. The people in New Orleans, Baton Rouge, and the great people here in Lafayette, right? This is a dream come true for me. And so, again, I've been preparing for this moment for a very long time. But I have to give my agent, Mike Harrison, a lot of credit. Once the job was available and open, he and Dr. Maggard spent some great time. Dr. Maggard came out to Houston, drove out to Houston, and we spent 5 hours just talking and sharing visions. And, we had a lot of similarities. And, that guy, Dr. Maggard, he outworks work, and so do I. And he wants to take this program and every program to the next level. And so that immediately sparked my interest. And so here I am.
All right, let's take a timeout. When we come back, we'll continue our conversation with the new head basketball coach of Louisiana Raging Cajuns, Quannas White, about where this program is. What does he know about it, as it just went to the NCAA tournament a few years ago, and all of a sudden they need a new head basketball coach. And he talks about recruiting, and they've landed a couple of big names as of recent. We'll do that right after I tell you about Amazon Fire Stick. Did you know that your Fire TV is also an Xbox? Turn any TV into your gaming and entertainment hub with Fire TV Stick 4K devices. No console required. Just grab your paired controller, subscribe or sign into Xbox Game Pass Ultimate with EA Play included, and you're ready to play. Dive into hundreds of premium titles from EA Sports College Football to Call of Duty, Black Ops, and Avowed. And as easily as you stream your favorite TV shows, it's gaming made simple. And it's all on your Fire TV. You get endless entertainment with 4K streaming. Watch more than 1.5 million movies and TV episodes from your favorite subscribed services like Netflix, Prime Video, Disney Plus, Max, and much, much more. Head to Amazon.com/Fire TV Locked On to get started. Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscription and compatible controller required. Available on select devices, including Fire TV Stick 4K, second generation, Fire TV Stick 4K Max, first and second generation, and Fire TV Cube, third generation. All right, Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your teams every day. Continuing our conversation with Quannas White. What did Dr. Brian Maggard tell him about the state of the Louisiana Raging Cajuns basketball program, and talks about some of the recruits that he is trying to get? All right, we're talking with Quannas White, the new head basketball coach of Louisiana Raging Cajuns. All right, so I'd like to know what Dr. Maggard told you about where the program is, because I didn't quite understand it. Because it's been a really good program for the better part of a decade since Alfred Payton and Sean Long took the team to the NCAA tournament. They just went to the NCAA tournament a couple of years ago, coming very close to beating Tennessee, and nobody knows, everybody knows that SEC fans are obnoxious and egotistical. And even Vols fans were like, wow, you gave us a great game. We're fortunate to have won that ball game. But then the program fell off for whatever reason. And then, the transfer portal got a hold of the Cajuns roster the following year. When I was there with Alfred Payton and Sean Long, they would draw 2,000 to 3,000 during the week, and then on the weekend it'd be 4,000 to 5,000. And you get 4,000 to 5,000 in the Cajun Dome. That's a lot of fans. You fill up that lower bowl, and it sounds like 10. What has Dr. Magger told you about where the status of the program is? Because it did fall off a cliff, but that may have had to do more with the portal than anything else.
Right. Yeah. He just, it's about the destination, and in life, everything's about the journey. And so I just saw the conviction in his eyes when he talked about the basketball program and the future of the basketball program. He can't, the past is in the past. You can't change the past, but you can move forward. And so just listening to his plan and the ideas that he have, with the students, getting the students more involved, maybe, changing where the students sit in the arena, right? And then getting out there in the community and bringing the community back. And so, when you look in someone in the eye and you see the passion that he has for this great university, you can feel it. You can feel the person's intensity and energy. And I definitely felt it. I've been a part of building a program, kind of rejuvenating program, along with obviously the head coach, Coach Sampson, right? The greatest. But so, I rushed to, come and be a part of trying to make this thing happen. And I believe him. I believe in myself. I believe in my staff. And we've been having a great last couple of weeks recruiting the right kids, and they believe also.
All right, so we'll get into some of those recruits here in a minute. We're talking with Quannas White, the new head basketball coach of the Louisiana Raging Cajuns, Locked On Sunbelt, your teams every day. All right, so two very opposite kind of programs. The Houston Cougars, a college program in a pro town, right? That's dominated by the Texans when they're pretty good, and they've been good the last couple of years. Of course, the Astros have won numerous championships recently. And now you're coming to the Cajuns, where that's it in Lafayette. Although, you're going to get some pushback on this. It tends to be overshadowed by LSU. Although now LSU's basketball program is, falling off a cliff as well for whatever reason. How do you get those fans involved? Because I'm now here in Louisville, Kentucky, and Pat Kelsey was all over the place here in town while trying to rebuild, a traditional program here in Louisville. How do you go about getting those fans that used to come back, and how you get those new students that are just arriving, next fall?
Yep, I think you have to be willing to work, Dave. You got to do whatever it takes. Getting out there in the community, make sure you're present and getting the student body excited, but also, recruiting is at the forefront of everything. Fans get excited about the guys that you're bringing in. And so we got some really high level kids that are coming to the University of Louisiana. And then it's about, what are they doing on the floor? How hard are those guys playing? Are they playing for each other? The intensity level that they're playing at. And so that's what really excited the Cougar fans. And that fan base grew and grew and grew. And then it's winning. You have to win. And so I'm committed to that. I'm the leader of this program. I'm excited about it. I understand everything that it entails. And so does my staff. We're up to 3 a.m. every night. No complaints. All these guys are putting their hard hats and strapping their boots up, and we're ready to work. And so I believe the Cajun Dome is going to be a sellout several games. I'm hoping for every game. Not just 5,000, Dave. I'm looking at 13,000.
Okay. All right. Expectations being set. All right. Let's talk about one of those recruits, because usually, the Cajuns are good at finding diamonds in the rough. Alfred Payton being one of them, like a 0-star recruit to lottery pick and leading the team to a Sun Belt championship in the NCAA tournament. Now you got Joshua Lewis for, unfortunately, some unfortunate circumstances was available, and he is a 4-star. I'm not sure the last time the Raging Cajuns had a 4-star. Will accentuate the positive because that's outstanding. We'll worry about what may happen following the season a different time. So how do you go about getting a kid like that? How do you find them? And what are expectations for somebody like that coming in and leading the team as such a young player?
Yeah, well, we've we've had a lot of kids that we've signed, obviously super talented, right? But we got a ton of kids that are really, really good that have committed and on their way to sign. And I'm not sure if I can speak about all those guys right now.
Sure.
But we've built this roster. You have to have balance. We've got 3 high school kids, and then we have some transfers that, I asked the question to all these guys when I'm recruiting them, Dave, what's most important to you? Especially in this landscape, it's very important that you're evaluating the kids and also evaluating their families. And all these kids, I can tell you, have great families, that we've built grand relationships with. And the answer to that question, when I ask those kids, that is, they all say they want to win and play in the NCAA tournament. And that's rare in this day and age. The first, thing that comes to mind is NIL,
Sure.
where all of these kids and their families are focused on winning and getting to the tournament. And that's special. Now you got to go put the work in behind it.
Let's take one more time out. We'll wrap up our conversation with the new head basketball coach of the Louisiana Raging Cajuns, Quannas White, about the style of play. And we will remind him our paths have crossed. We'll do that right after I thank you. All right, almost 1,910 subscribers. Woke up this morning. Again, usually 500 or so views are good. We had over almost 3,000 views yesterday. A couple of shorts have really taken off. Thank you to the transfer portal. I guess that to be the case with Gio Lopez. The Clay Helton short took off, sitting with his dad at the Masters is pretty cool. And we'll continue to post those. Really do appreciate it. Some more subscribers. Also, don't forget about the audio portion. You can listen on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And if you do leave comments on the YouTube videos, that does help us grow as well. And that is me answering the questions or your comments. Thanks so much. And let's get back to the head coach of Louisiana Raging Cajuns, Quannas White. All right, Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your teams every day. Let's wrap up our conversation with the head basketball coach, Quannas White. Talks about the style of play that we can expect to see. And it turns out it was a long time ago, that our paths have crossed. We did not know it at the time until I saw who he played for college basketball, but he may or may not have played the Syracuse Orange in the Elite Eight in 2003 as Syracuse was on their way to the national championship. He did give me a hard time because they had to play in upstate New York as the number 1 seed. He is the new head basketball coach of the Louisiana Cajuns. He is Quannas White, and he is Locked On Sunbelt. All right, so we're going to ask you, are you going to the same style of play? Because Kelvin Sampson is known for defense, kind of grinding it out, a lot of motion. We're not going to rush the shot clock. So you're putting together your first team. Is that the kind of style you're going to play? And then when you see the players, maybe adjust to what what you think you have to what you actually have.
Well, a lot of great coaches. We all take something from, other coaches. And I've been blessed to be a part of something special and have a leader and a guy that I consider a Hall of Famer. And so it would be, not smart of me not to take something from him to bring over here, especially when you just ended in a national championship game, right?
Right.
So most definitely I'll be taking a ton of stuff that we've done over there at Houston, but I also have my own plan, and I've hired some great assistants that I'm gonna lean on as well. I think it's not a me thing; it's a we thing. I'm only as good as the guys that are around me, and I have some special guys that are around me.
Yeah, because the one thing, as defense is supposed to travel, and you may have an off shooting night, and so those things happen. No matter if the threes are not going, the mid range aren't going, you miss some free throws, whatever the case is, you can't put the ball in the basket. But usually the defense and effort goes. My only issue with that, you're always in games, but that means you're always in games. The other team is always in the game as well, and so all of a sudden, what seems like an insurmountable 6 to 8 point lead disappears because the team was gone cold. So where are we with analytics and 3-point shooting? Because it seems to be we want 3-pointers, we want layups and free throws. That's basically the game plan these days.
Yeah, well, it is, it's changing. That 3-point shot has become more prevalent now than ever, and you have to score the ball, right? And so I think when you have guys, talented guys, and we hang our hats on player development. When I think back to the season that we had at Houston, and I've been in charge of our guards over the last 8 years, and developing them, coaching them, mentoring them. The 3-point percentage, sorry, of Milos Uzan, LJ, Emmanuel Sharp, all those guys shot over 40% from the three. And that's high level. I think Milos Uzan was right at 45. So player development is extremely important. But then knowing that your players, the players that are out there on the floor, they're knowing that the head coach have unbelievable confidence in them and all, in freedom, giving those guys freedom to go make plays without looking over their shoulder. And so guys are going to be excited to play here. You mentioned the kid that just committed here. Huge reason for that, right? He's super talented, has a high skill level. But I can say that about all the kids that we have committed. All of them have a set offensive skill that we can utilize, and I'm going to give them great freedom to do that. It's going to be fun to watch as you go back and talk about filling that arena up. That's one of the things that the fans want to see. They want to see a good brand of basketball. And so these guys going to run up the floor and sprint, and we're going to shoot threes. We're going to play it in a variety of different ways. And most importantly, these kids going to have fun, but they're going to also play the right way on the other end of the floor.
So am I going to give you all the credit for the inbounds play against Purdue? Because I was on that side of the court. I was in Indianapolis with my nephew, and it was crazy because you guys had blown a bit of a lead there at the end, and all of a sudden the ball game is tied, and all of a sudden it felt like the easiest play we've ever seen.
Yeah. Coach Sampson is a Hall of Fame coach, okay. And so fans should be really excited because I learned from the best.
Well, again, sorry I wasn't following Houston this year, but that point guard that you mentioned was outstanding in that ball game and the season. I will ask you, I don't know if you can talk about him, but somebody who's been with the Cajuns the last few years was hurt this past season, but is in the transfer portal. Is there any opportunity, and is he interested? Are you interested in Hosanna Continge returning, or is he just in the portal and he's looking for a new home?
Yeah. All of those guys that have entered the transfer portal, I have to first say this, that all of those young men that were on last year's team are special. I've had conversations with every last one of those guys, and all of them are high character guys. At this point right now, we're moving forward. We have some guys that we're considering and that are really good gentlemen. So that's nothing against Hosanna. I think he's a very special young man, and he has an extremely bright future.
All right, so one more question about recruiting. It's important in Louisiana to recruit Louisiana, get the families to come in and get that local flavor. How big are you in recruiting, kids from Baton Rouge and New Orleans and even up north?
Yeah, this is where I'm from. So we'll be all over Louisiana. This is home for us. So we're definitely looking for, the right type of prospect that fits our culture, my culture, and that I'm instilling. And so, we'll definitely be recruiting hard right here in Louisiana. For sure.
All right, so let's talk about. We mentioned the style of play. Let's talk about the defense. Are we strictly one style of defense, or do we switch it up depending on what's happening in the game?
This team that I'm assembling along with my staff is deep, and so we're going to play. We're going to change defenses. You'll see this season. I don't want to talk about all my different strategies and schemes right now, but. Yeah, we're going to play extremely hard, and so we got some different things that we're going to do. We got a lot of versatility with this roster, and so I'm just excited, to get started here in the summer, working towards, our goals.
All right, let's wrap it up here with Quannas White, the new head basketball coach of Louisiana Raging Cajuns. I do have to say our paths have crossed. We did not know each other back in the day, and we got to give them a little bit of a hard time here on Locked On Sunbelt, which has nothing to do with the Sunbelt. For those who don't know, Quannas played for Calvin Sampson at Oklahoma. I knew it as the Hollis Price team, so I didn't realize how good Quannas White was at the time. But I happened to be in Albany, New York during the Sweet 16, and some guys named, Carmelo Anthony and Jerry Maguire and Queth Duaney played a ferocious 2-3 zone. I seem to remember Queth saying, yeah, a couple of possessions in, the eyes glazed over because Oklahoma wasn't sure what to do with the zone. You're not the first team to have that issue. Can we expect some zone from the Louisiana Raging Cajuns?
Yeah, I'm a man-to-man guy, but again, we have some versatility, and you're right. That Syracuse team was something special. However, we were a 1 seed playing in Albany. Think about that.
Yeah, you're not kidding. So for those who don't know, yes, this was in Albany, New York. Syracuse went all the way to Boston to play in the first 2 rounds, and then got to play in Albany as the 3 seed. You're not wrong. Yeah,
Special team. Those guys deserve to win that game, and they're national championship champions for a reason.
Well, you guys were. I remember you guys were good too. The only team that year that I was afraid of is just watching college basketball was Kansas for a good reason. The other team, and you would know this, I wasn't afraid of because they were a defensive team, but could not score, was Oklahoma State. Syracuse played them, but they went on their little run, and they're going to score 55. So I knew if Syracuse could score 60, 65, they'd be all set, and they were. So, but that was a heck of a game. It was a great Sweet 16. I needed that. My laundry's not dried. I had a big Q shirt to put on, so I had to find a hat. I had to make sure you know where we're coming from here. All right. So we've been around a little bit, and we did not know our paths crossed when you were probably 22. And oh goodness, oh my God, I was 33. Not great. 20 years ago, more than 20 years ago. He is Quannas White. He is the new head basketball coach of Louisiana Raging Cajuns. Thanks for hopping on Locked On Sunbelt. Congratulations on the new gig, and hopefully we'll catch up with you, before the season starts in the fall. Thanks so much, Coach.
Thank you, Dave. Thanks for having me.